All right, in a new interview, Prince Harry is opening up about his battle with the tabloids and the role that it played in the rift with the royal family. Have a look.
To what extent do you think that your determination to fight the tabloids destroyed the relationship with your family?
I think there's, that's certainly a central piece to it. But you know, that's a hard question to answer, because anything I say about my family results in a torrent of abuse from the press. I've made it.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in our royal expert, Patricia Treble, who joins us from Ottawa this morning. Patricia, good morning to you. This interview aired last night in Britain on ITV as part of a documentary called Tabloids on Trial. What did Harry say about his fight with the tabloids and how he believes it contributed to the rift with the royals?
Yeah, so this was interesting. This was his first interview since he won the case against the Mirror Group back in December. And the focus really wasn't on the nuts and bolts of the cases. They're really complex. He's basically suing all the tabloids in a variety of cases. But the focus was really on his personal toll, and especially his relationship with his family. And as you hear, I mean, he's saying that these lawsuits played a really central role. I think I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to say, he gave a lot of interviews. He talked about the fact that he and Meghan weren't supported by the royals. He talked about racial bias by the royals. And of course, the royals are mightily, upset that he revealed all their personal information in his memoir and Netflix series. But certainly, the lawsuits are playing a role. And what he was talking about was really the fact that, he couldn't trust anyone around him. And that was what really came out in there. He also talked about his mother and his grandmother. And he said he has evidence that Diana was hacked in the mid-90s. This hasn't come out in any legal cases, but he said she had every right to be as paranoid as people were accusing her of being back then. And he also talked about his grandmother. He said he had a lot of conversations with the late Queen Elizabeth II about the lawsuits, and that she gave him her full support to go forth with these very public lawsuits. He also, he was asked a question about the health, of course, of his father and sister-in-law. Remember, he rushed back to England when his dad was diagnosed with cancer, and there was hope of a reconciliation. But he kind of made it clear that the lawsuits are going to continue and that the health issue is a completely separate issue. So the tentative hope that there might have been a bit of a reconciliation, maybe him and Meghan and the kids coming to Balmoral so the king could see his grandchildren, that seems to be completely off now.
Actually, Patricia, I wanted to ask you about that, because he kind of went into why Meghan hasn't returned to the UK.
Yeah, so he was talking about the negative press in Britain, and he's not talking about the hacking. That's in the past, but he was talking about the negative press and the impact of that. And he says he fears for her, and that he doesn't want her to come back to Britain because he's really worried about a lone actor with acid or a knife, which is an alarming sort of thought. And that's going to be, I think, I'm wondering about that, because the Invictus Games were just awarded to Birmingham for 2027, and normally you would have Harry and Meghan coming back, multiple times for all the pre-events, as they've been doing in Canada. But I guess that is now completely off.
All right, Patricia Treble, good to see you on this Friday, and thank you so much for this update. We appreciate it.